Last night, episode 3 of Hard Knocks, we seen MCDC and the boys take the show on the road down to Indianapolis. Let's talk about some things that we've seen, some things that we learned, some things that we want to see coming forward in episode 4. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Welcome to Detroit.
Alright guys, as you know, I'm Hat and Beard, the host of the show. We're talking about Hard Knocks episode 3 last night featuring our beloved Detroit Lions. In it, we learned that Dan Campbell has some dirty pants, some dirty historical pants. I like the analogy that he made. I know that a lot of people are that aren't, football heads, kind of get lost in his analogies, but if you pay attention to the room and if you ever look at the players when he's addressing them, they are hyper-focused and completely in tune with what he's saying. Those guys are bought in to the Dan Campbell mentality, and I freaking love it, man. We've seen a lot of passion and a lot of fire out of Jamal Williams, which we already know, but it was really exciting to see the 7th round draft pick, Chase Lucas. Man, he was just running his mouth during the whole practice session, but he backed it up with hard physical play on the field. I like to see it, especially if the guy, there's a chance he's probably not even going to make the roster and probably be delegated to the practice squad. But you like to see those kinds of guys. They elevate everyone else around him, and that's awesome to see. For those of you that didn't watch the game, you were enlightened to see David Blau basically redeem himself after falling flat on his face against the Falcons and costing us the game with just a terrible fumble out there in the fourth quarter that ended up leading to Desmond Ridder converting for a touchdown that ended up sealing the deal. David Blau bounced back and was able to showcase not only does he have his short memory going from week to week, but in committing a turnover last week against the Colts, he had another short memory and he was able to erase it right out of his memory banks. And I again believe that David Blau has earned the right to be the backup quarterback to Jared Goff. Some things that I'm looking to see in the following episodes is some better storyline development. We haven't seen a lot of players. We've basically been focused on the coaching staff, and I totally understand that because Dan Campbell, Deuce Staley, Aaron Glenn, they're very entertaining people to watch, which is why they're in the position that they're in, which is why we have this culture shift that we have going on in Detroit. Because these guys have this mentality where it's hard and it's gritty, but they're also out there to have fun, man. They're able to connect the players on a level that obviously Matt Patricia and the Quinn Tricia era of Detroit wasn't able to succeed with. I really, really like the fact that everyone is bought into how the players are supposed to operate, how they're supposed to conduct themselves, and the discipline that they show both on and off the field. You don't hear about many players for the Lions getting in trouble off the field, and you haven't seen many penalties committed by the Lions on the field. Yeah, you've seen some scuffles, you've heard about some issues, during practice, some fights that might have broken out, but that's to be expected in a contact sport like this. Guys are playing with their hair on fire at a super high level, man. I do appreciate the competitiveness that they have both with our own team and obviously when we go and square off against other players. I mean, we went into foreign territory. We went onto the Colts turf, and we literally came in taking a fight to them both through joint practice and then also with the game. It was really good to see, and I really appreciate the culture shift that has taken place with the entire organization, and it starts with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and the effect that they've had with the team. Also, I like to think that it's a bonus that you don't see a lot of personalities on the team. For all of the hyper talent that Antonio Brown or Terrell Owens brought to the team, they also brought a lot of distraction. You don't see a lot of players out there being locker room distractions for the Lions. The most you see is Jamal Williams cracking a joke and Halapalooty Vati Vaitai giving that awesome deadpan stare. If anything, he should be the unsung hero of the show. But I get HBO's trying to build, storylines that they can cultivate, which is why they show a lot of the Hutchinson family because he is the number 2 overall pick. But what I would like them to see is 2 storylines that they should really focus on, and that is, can Jeff Okudah bounce back from his potential bust career trajectory that he's been on as a hangover player from the Matt Patricia era? Because it would be an amazing story. The number 3 overall pick was put in a terrible position, asked to cover guys for 7-8 seconds. That's completely unacceptable in the NFL or even in college football. It is unacceptable for you to put that type of pressure on a defensive back and not expect any pressure to be put on the quarterback from your front 7. That's ludicrous. Jeff Okudah was put into a bad spot his first year, and then his second season, right at the beginning of the year, he tore his Achilles. That is, for some guys, a career-ending injury, especially when you're talking a skilled position like defensive back where he has to put a lot of pressure on that ankle, a lot of push, a lot of twist, a lot of turn, a lot of pivot on that ankle joint that, most guys have a hard time doing with a completely healthy Achilles, let alone a completely repaired one. But HBO, I think it'd be cool to see Jeff Okudah get a little bit of screen time because he's trying to not be a bust. I've actually bet on him to be comeback player of the year because the odds are so great. I'll take it. But it would be awesome if they could maybe show a little bit of the battle between Will Harris and Jeff Okudah for that number 2 overall, or that number 2 cornerback spot. Because I think that Jeff Okudah has all of the skill set and all of the weaponry to be successful in this Aaron Glenn defense. And then lastly, the battle that I think that they should show is the scrap for the 6th wide receiver spot. I feel like we talk about Tom Kennedy every single episode, and we're not the only ones. I mean, there are polls on other Lions podcasts that are like, does Tom Kennedy deserve to make the roster? I've even seen polls that say, who's better, Jerry Rice or Tom Kennedy? Because, let's be honest, it's preseason. It's backup players. It's guys that probably aren't even going to make the roster. And we are over here just blowing our loads over Tom Kennedy, thinking he's the second coming of Jerry Rice or Tim Brown or, insert Hall of Fame wide receiver, not Calvin Johnson because he's not 6'5" and runs a 4.40. It'd be awesome if HBO would show a little bit of Tom Kennedy's storyline. The fact that he was a lacrosse player in college, that he's not from a perennial big-time program, that he was an undrafted rookie free agent, that he's had to scrap his way up through the practice squad, and that he's been this preseason phenom this year. If you look at it, he's like the number 1 fantasy wide receiver in preseason football with 2 touchdown catches. I mean, great. I know it's preseason, but still, we're all really hype on Tom Kennedy, and we need to kind of temper our expectations as a fan base. But it'd be cool if HBO would showcase that a little bit more. And lastly, in that same vein, I'm talking to all of you hardcore Lions fans like me, not just the people that are watching HBO, not just the people that are going to fall in love with, whomever's on Hard Knocks, which even I'm guilty of some years, most years. As a fan base, we need to realize that HBO is producing a product that they're trying to sell to the American consumer. Well, in some instances to the global consumer. But they're trying to sell a product. They're not trying to talk to us fans that spend all day listening to sports talk about our Lions. At the end of the day, they're trying to get ratings and views, and they've done a great job. This is one of the most entertaining Hard Knocks in recent memory. I'm absolutely loving it. I thought last episode was a little lacking, but again, if you look at it through the views lens of a common consumer, they love it. It's super entertaining. The ratings are up, the views are up for the whole season, and we as a fan base need to temper our expectations, and we just need to bask in the glory of realizing that our team is finally getting national recognition, that we're finally getting acceptance from the American people, and that we're getting a lot of support from the layman NFL fans. Let's just be grateful that it's finally happening for us and that we have the potential. All things are pointing up for Detroit this season. And we as a fan base know that it's next season, and especially the 2024 season, where our salary cap is just like wide open. But that being said, it's still awesome to see us on it. I'm glad you all decided to stop by. Sorry last video was kind of whiny and complaining. I was just having a bad day. But thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to hit like on your way out the door. And I've been Hat and Beard. You've been wonderful. See you guys later. Bye.